Okay, hello, I'm Thomas Merrick, and this is Space Engineers. Take two on my perspective. I've not done a whole lot of Space Engineers on my channel, but someone asked me to show off something I've built, so I figured, hey, what the heck. So it's wonderfully night now. I did a recording of this once already, and it didn't record right. My voice was right, well, as right as it ever is, but a lot of dropped frames. We're trying to hope that doesn't happen this time. I changed the way it's encoded. Just crossing our fingers. If you see this, it probably worked. So now this server isn't mine. Down there is a terrestrial world. I think we use this like the default solar system settings. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm in with a group. We've been slowly building some stuff. Most of this base here is not mine. I've done some things in here. Some of the conveyors, this speed thing on the assembly, but I've also started trying to beautify the place here a little bit. We aren't using any mods on this server, but I'm actually halfway considering asking to see if we could maybe add a few decorative ones, kind of like beds and like a rec room, maybe a kitchen, some kind of like, I know I've seen like really cool looking hollow tables. That would be like a command center. It's not super important, but I kind of like just doing that. Now the stuff up here from this walkway on is stuff I've built, including this gravity generator, which has helped immensely. I have been having some problems with performance and connectivity, so that's probably the part of the why I'm having trouble recording this. And you can see even now I'm getting a little bit of rubber banding. At least I can see it. Hopefully the fact that this is now nighttime isn't going to matter too much. We've got the Excavatatron coil drill test site, and the coil drill is what I've been asked to demonstrate. And here it is in all its majesty. Now initially this call came about from, matter of fact, let's go outside and take a look at this a little bit closer. Initially, what I was doing is actually I was planet side when I was working on this, was a drill. I was planning on it being this size, 3x3. I never actually quite got it that big. I think I had like a 2x3, but it was all attached to a single piston. Actually, it was two pistons. It was two pistons in series, and it just didn't really have the length that I was looking for. Let me turn on the light here. There we go. And so I started looking around on the internets for ideas on how to extend this range, and I saw someone kind of have a kind of, they didn't really show a video of it. They didn't really show it very well, but they had kind of kind of almost an exploded view of what they were talking about, because initially it was like in a Reddit thread and they were talking about this, and then they showed an exploded view, kind of showed this pattern, and I've extrapolated from that this, and it does work, and it is indeed what he was talking about. So you can see here, this is how deep it goes. And as we dug down, I was initially going for the gold. I was actually kind of lucky. I found some cobalt on the way down. But this is as far down as it goes. And there's all the drills in all its majesty. So let's go ahead and see it in operation. Now I'll talk a little bit more about some things after we're done demonstrating this, about kind of what my next steps are going to be, and possibly more videos. It really depends on how well this one actually records. Don't need to shut that, but why not? So let's just actually get to it. Now, before we get too far here, and I'm not going to explain a whole lot about Space Engineers. I'm assuming you have some knowledge going into this. If not, I do apologize. Maybe if people are demanding it, I'll try to do a tutorial. I'm not great at it myself, but I'm learning. I'm going into the K menu here. I just push K, it goes into the control panel. There's various ways you can actually get to this panel, but this is the most immediate way. Now I've set up a couple control groups. One of them is the pistons group, one is the drills groups. Now the drill group was interesting because as I was adding drills, I just threw it to that drill group, and the button I'd actually already pre-programmed in was automatically added the new drill. Now the piston group is the one I'm actually wanting to look at here, wanting to show it to you, and it's this velocity. Now by default, when you set up pistons, the velocity is negative 0.5. Now when I was doing my initial tests, I had this thing set to negative 0.2. That when I actually drilled that hole, I was at negative point 0.2. I believe that negative point 0.1 is probably the way it will do in the future for a variety of reasons. Uh, Point 0.2 is still a little bit too fast. You almost go a little bit faster with your drills than it can actually drill. Point 0.1 seemed about right, but it was very slow. Actually, it seemed a little bit too slow. Ideally, I would want to like be 0.15, but I had it set to point 0.3 here, negative point 0.3, just for demonstration purposes. So first of all, I've got a camera set up right above the drill, as you can see, pointed down. Now, when I remodel this, and I am going to be rejiggering this, I will actually have this camera. I've got an idea for having how to set it right up close to the very top, pointing down right down the actual axis, as opposed to over here on the control tower. But first, let's go ahead and push the 9 button there, and that will actually activate our drills. Now you'll notice here it's already shaking. That makes me nervous. Now I've done several tests with this, one including when I was drilling. It did not shake apart. I do not know what the actual torque or how that would affect. I don't know if it ever will break, but it makes me nervous, especially as I go forward, which I'll explain later. But first, let's go ahead and actually start the extension here. Now I've got 5 different pistons here, and I put them in stages. When I'm drilling, I do it one stage at a time, and so that's how I'm going to demonstrate it to you now. Now when I retract, you'll see here down the toolbar the number 8. That will actually retract all at the same time, and that does seem to work well. As far as I know, extending it all at the same time will probably work as well. So let me go ahead and just start the first stage. And I can actually, you can kind of see it going down there. Let's go back to the camera. Now eventually I do want to put some like lights here so we can actually see a little bit better. As this gets deeper, around stage 3, I can't really see it anymore, and I actually have to kind of eyeball it on how well it's actually digging, or if it even is still digging. But for right now, we can still see motion, so we will actually see it stop there. So let's go ahead and go on to the next stage, stage 2. And already you can kind of see what it's doing. And the real advantage to this is the coil design is it makes it very compact when it's packed up, which may seem obvious, but when I was initially building this, I was just like building these things in sequence. It became very unwieldy to have that length. So when you compact it like this, you can actually drill really deep. A lot deeper than you could if you just kept this all in series, just because of the way it's designed. There's no way to build it in series without it actually being really high up, because of the way the pistons themselves are actually pretty lengthy. It's kind of, I don't know if I'm explaining it very well. Let me go ahead and start the next sequence here. Now here at this point, I told you that I was having trouble, and the way I dealt with that, to figure out if it was done or not, I'd push the I key, go into the inventory, and as we go down here, we see the drills, and it may not. Yeah, it's still picking up a little bit of incidental stone as it's going down there. There's some on the side it's still picking up, and it may pick up some cobalt and some gold as it goes down as well. Now, when I was doing the initial drill, this was coming in at like thousands at a time and going out. So when it actually slowed down to this pace, or now it's looked like it's cleared all the way out what it can do. I knew it was time to go ahead and extend the next length. Now when I put it to 0.1, I'm not going to have to worry as much about that. And ideally I would like to have a way to have the cameras go down with it, but the problem is side clearance. I would actually have to put a block on the side, and it would never clear. It's already kind of iffy getting the lights on the side of it, although the lights are a lot thinner. Wow, that's really shaking. It feels like it's shaking more than normal. Watch it break this time. Murphy's Law and all that. Let's go ahead and go to 6. And this is the final stage. In fact, let me go ahead and turn off the drills, and let's go down and take a look at it. Saving in progress, thank you. See, it all coils around until you finally get down all the way to the bottom. The drills are stopped, and you can get around to the side here. If I wasn't rubber banding a little bit, there we go. I mean, not much to see, you know, big old drill heads. But there it is on the full extension. Let me get back up top side here, and I'll show it to you actually retracting. There we go. Let's actually go outside and watch it. Or actually, let's watch it from the window. Now this will come up a lot faster because all of the pistons are retracting at the same time. And as I said, I think I probably could extend it all at the same time, but it doesn't shake as much when the drills aren't active. So it's mostly the drills that's causing the shake. But once this thing actually finishes retracting, I'm going to go out and show you. It does still shake even with at normal. If it'll show up on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's just a very slight little shake to it. And this makes me nervous because now I'm going to go on to, like, you know, my next steps. The whole purpose of this initially was I was trying to build a starship, and I was wanting to put this assembly underneath here, and I was going to surround it with kind of like a ring, and then on the bottom of the ring, right now this one has a camera on it, but I was going to put landing gear so I could actually land on the planet, attach, and then the ring was going to have like a little bit of the drill head sticking down, so I would have maximum reach, and or, you know, planet or asteroid or whatever, and then, you know, just suck up all the resources. Now I'm going to have to redesign this ship because I found a thrust to mass calculator on the internet, and I don't have anywhere near as much thrust as I'm going to need. Or at least I wasn't planning on having as much thrust. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to check. I wanted to make sure, even in this 0.1 gravity, that my you know, when I detached this thing, the ship wasn't going to tumble into the planet. But I've kind of got here all I'm planning on doing, and one of them is a 5x5 drilling assembly. So several steps here. My next step is actually not even going to be adding more drills. Eventually, I do want to get like a 5x5 assembly. My next step is actually to make it something more useful for the base, is to, and I'm not sure how many I want to try yet, but I want to get 2 to 4 X and 2 to 4 Y piston setups where it will move this entire assembly around out here so that I can drill various places. Like over here, you can see just not too far to the right, I have uranium, just very, very shallow. It's almost drilling range. Matter of fact, I think when I looked up here, you can kind of see it. I think that's uranium there. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to make room up here if I'm going to actually move the assembly out, but I may also make it, yeah, I don't really want to make it a little bit too much higher. Anywho, well, that's going to be step one, and I'll probably do a video showcasing that. I'm also wanting to add lights around here, little blinking yellow lights and corner lights, make it look all cool. Another thing I want to play around with is I'm going to move the actual control seat a little bit more front and center of the window, and I'm not sure if I want to put it underneath or above, but I want to actually put button panels, so we can stand out here and push the button and watch it do whatever it does. That's kind of like a idea in my head. It's not really fully formed yet. But anyhow, once I get all of that done, like I said, we might do another video on that. I'm going to actually add, I'm wanting to actually just go ahead and turn this into a 4x4 and see what happens. You know, again, that shake really bugs me. I'm very concerned adding more drills is going to actually cause catastrophic failure. Assuming that works, I'm going to go into a 5x5, which is what is my intention for the excavatortron. So assuming that testing, I'll also show you these tests when I do them, because if it blows up, it'll just be funny. Uh, but assuming that all works, uh, then I'll know it'll be ready to actually apply to the excavator-tron, and then we'll build the excavator-tron. Maybe I'll show that. I don't know. It really depends if anybody even cares at that point. But one thing that's going to happen when I add the extra layers is it's obviously going to add more pistons. So this thing is going to go deeper and deeper and deeper as it goes. When I add, it's going to be what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more pistons. We're looking at maybe 3 or 4 extra pistons that's going to just almost double our range. And then on top of that, adding in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more on the outside. I mean, we're looking at possibly a little more than 3 times this depth on a 5 by 5 area. That is huge. And that shake, man, I don't know. And also having that much going on, already we're seeing like scene complexities and so forth. We'll see what happens. But that's the goal, and that's what makes it fun. We're just testing stuff out, see what works. This is why this is called the test site. If it blows up, then at least it's over here and not in the main base. So other than that, I'll probably want to do some coloration. Like I really want to do some, get some decorative objects. But it's a very low priority, just something like, when I'm tired of thinking about that, I started actually building onto the base. I started building like little pretty stuff, actually fleshing out some of those girders and so forth. Especially now that with this drill, we've got a number of quite a bit of some of the easy to find resources, plus a lot of gold. We got a heck of a lot of gold. Anyway, well, let's go ahead and stop it there. Hopefully this recorded, and if it did, then you got to see it. Lucky you. Go put these bottles back up so I don't forget, even though one of them's empty. And yeah, the rest of the stuff, this isn't stuff I've built over here. This is ships other people have built. This is a ship that's been in construction. Looks like it's going to be a big ship that has a hangar in it, which is kind of cool. Doesn't look like much work has been done to it. It's been a skeleton actually for several days, but so my ship has been too. I've been working over here mostly. I think that's everything I want to share with you right now. So plop. You can actually go down this ladder too. These ladders are new. I'm not familiar with these. Let me just jump off that. That gravity generator makes it so much easier to get around this base. I've got this door here, but it just leaves out to the middle of nothing. But it looked like a nice place for a door. I'd like to put a door out this way too, but we've got these solar panels. There's really no real clear way to, I guess maybe there. Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it. I'd really like to build this out. Oh, we got all this room here. Maybe build, what I kind of want to do is go out here and build kind of like a crew area, common area, a command center, like bedrooms. But that really depends on if we get some of those decorative objects. Because just building empty rooms, there's no real. It doesn't even look good. Well, I'm rambling at this point, so I'll stop rambling and I'll start getting this video out. So until next time, crash and burn.